You see the Farmtek brain, it is intimidating to look at but easy to operate. The goal of this video is to give you simple ways to operate the Farmtek timers for show jumping in two different programs, show jumping and power and speed. Before you even turn it on, look at the keypad. There's 12 buttons. The only button that is not dual purpose is the enter button. Don't be afraid to press the buttons. If you ask the brain to do something it's not supposed to do, it'll just beep at you and refuse to do it. Please, again, look at the keypad. It gives you a lot of hints. And we will go over each thing, but the first thing you have to learn how to do is turn it on. In the upper right-hand corner, we flip the switch from off to on. And then you see it initializes, you see the Polaris by Farmtek, and because this brain is set up for show jumping, it goes immediately to show jumping. Now, if we want to change programs, you hit the setup button, which is also the number 8 button, and next choice till it prompts you to hit enter to pick new event. So we're going to hit enter. And it puts us in barrel racing. We don't want that. We don't want roping. We don't want bull riding. We don't want team penning. We don't want cutting, but we do want show jumping. And you can see by the asterisks over here that we actually were in show jumping before. We're going to hit enter for show jumping. When you're in show jumping, if you hit the setup button, your second choice is to check the battery. It's always a good idea to check your AA battery life. You hit enter, it shows 61%. That way you know that you've got some time before you're going to need new AA's. So if a battery indicator comes up while there's a horse on course, chances are it's a 9 volt, it's not your AA's. You hit next choice, you get first round time. You hit enter. And for this purpose, we have 78 seconds. So we press the number 7, we press the number 8, we press the enter, and we have 78 seconds. Now we're going to hit jump off time. We want 55, so we're going to hit the 5 button twice. See, it says key and jump off time, 55. Hit enter, and it'll go to the next choice. The next choice is your first round eyes. Now what I do in the morning when I sit down is I figure out which eyes I'm going to use for the first round and the jump off. If it's going to be one set of eyes for the first round and a different set for the finish for the jump off, or a different set to start the jump off, whatever the course designer has described. In this case, we're going to set it up for start 1, stop 2 for the first round, and start 1, stop 3 for the second round. When you hit the enter button for the eyes, it's always going to default to 1, 1. But there's no asterisk by it, so that's not what you had it programmed for. Next choice is 1, 2. That's what we decided. It was going to start on 1 and stop on 2, and that's why the asterisk is there. So you hit enter, and the same thing's going to happen for the jump off eyes. Now we want that to be 1, 3. We're going to hit enter. It's going to be 1, 1. But we're looking for the asterisks to know that we have it correctly in 1, 3. 1, 1, 1, 2, and you see the asterisk is there for 1, 3, so you know that it's correct, and then you hit enter. Now let's go back to illustrate where the asterisk is. We're going to go back to first round eyes. Remember, it's going to default to 1, 1. There you see it's 1, 1, but you hit next choice, and you can see the asterisk is there. So you know that you had programmed it correctly, and you're going to do it again and hit enter so it's cemented in there. We've talked about the show jumping program. Now we're going to go into the power and speed program. That's where you find your tables 22C and 22D. But first we have to select a new event. So we're going to hit setup, next choice, pick new event, hit enter. Again, we've got barrel racing, roping, bull riding, team penning, cutting, show jumping, but we don't want that this time. We want power and speed, so we're going to hit enter. And we go through the same process in the power and speed menu. Hit the setup button. We don't want a new event. We're going to check the battery again, 61% still, so we're good on that. Now you have to choose whether you want 2C or 2D. For the purpose of this video, we're going to use 2D, so we're going to hit next choice, and you see that's what I had selected there. Asterisk is there, and we hit enter. Then the next thing is the power phase time. Hit enter. For this purpose, we've picked 60 seconds, so you push the 6 button and the 0 button and hit the word enter. Now it's going to be the second phase time, which says speed phase, but it's second phase time. You hit enter. In this case, we're using 55, so we hit the 5 and the 5 and hit enter. And the rest of it's automatically programmed for you, or will have been programmed for you, so you just go back to setup and you're ready to rock and roll in power and speed. Now we're going to go back to show jumping. So we're going to hit setup, pick new event, barrel racing, roping, bull riding, team penning, cutting, show jumping, enter. Now we've learned about that. I usually don't use the set horn 1, set horn 2, set horn sound. I do use, because you have 3 options for the sound. You can have a high-pitched tone, you can have an air horn, or you can have a buzzer. So when you get into set horn sound and you hit enter, it'll give you a choice of buzzer, air horn, or high pitch. Whichever one has been previously used, again, has an asterisk. When one switches programs or disables the brain by turning it off, all the stored data is lost. The eyes and the times actually programmed in are still there, and you can tell by the asterisks that's by them, but any data that you have is gone. So let's create some fake data so we can look at it. So we're going to create one round that is 5.090 seconds in the first round. Now we're going to create a jump off time. We'll make that 4. And now we're going to go back to setup and enter. We've gone back to the first round. We've cleared the clock. We're going to see what happens when we hit previous choice. Lo and behold, we have the jump off time first, and the next one is the first round time, and it tells you in the upper right hand corner whether it's the jump off or the first round time. And because there is no third round, it won't let you go previous choice. But see how here it's got enter? See, that's your jump off. It says jump off right there. Okay, I think it's time that we talk a little bit about the buttons themselves. The 0 button is also your eyes on button. This Farmtek timer is made for people who want it simple. There's one button for eyes on, which is the 0 button, and one button for eyes off. That's the 1 button. So when you want to activate the eyes, you press eyes on. When you want to deactivate it, you press eyes off. You can't make a mistake because one is on, one is off. Button number 3 is the tone. Now the tone is not hooked up, so you will not hear it during this video, but that's pressing the tone. Now, if you have to restart the clock, that's the number 3 button up here in the right hand corner. That's for after a disruption. We're going to have an example of that. So we're going to run the clock up, and let's say they slid into fence 1. So you stop the clock, you sound the tone, you hit the go penalty, which is the 7 button, and now you want to key in their 6-second penalty. Then you hit enter. See, the display has gone up by 6 seconds, so you have the time adjusted. Plus it tells you on the bottom that you've added the 6 seconds. It's all set up for you. It makes it as simple as possible. Now that we've covered the disruption, we're going to continue on just talking about the buttons. The number 4 button is your no time button, and you use that in the 2C option. If you have a rider that has jumping faults in 2C and you hit the no time button, the clock will stop automatically for you when they go through I2. It will not stop automatically if you do not hit the no time button and the eyes on button. Your number 5 is your clear time button. So you run the clock up and you want to clear the time so you can have it as a previous choice. You press the 5 button and it goes back to clear, and now you can go to previous choice and see the time that was previously displayed. The 6 button is your countdown button. That enables your 45-second clock. See it counting backwards? Now, if you discover that you're in the wrong program, if you really wanted to be in jump off, you can stop the countdown, hit setup and enter, and be in show jumping, and then recontinue the countdown. Or if you were in jump off and you wanted to be in first round again, stop the countdown and you can switch it over and reactivate the countdown. Personally, when I hit the countdown, I hit eyes on at the same time, so I know if they come near those cells. The 7 button, which is the go penalty button, is the button that I use for the adding of the seconds for when there's a disruption. Again, you press the black button to stop it, the go penalty button, and then the 6 seconds for the penalty, and you see that it's jumped up. Now you want to restart it, you use the number 3 button, which is the restart button, to continue on. We're going to do another example here right now where I don't hit the restart button, I accidentally hit the black button. Go penalty, 6 seconds, enter. But this time I'm going to hit the black button by mistake. Oh, whoops, it goes all the way back to 0. You want to have your hand right up there by the restart button. You don't want to take a chance on accidentally hitting that black button for that. Then the number 8 button we've already become familiar with because that's your setup button. Your number 9 button is your previous choice button where we'd go to retrieve the time. Now remember, this is the data that will disappear if you turn the clock off or switch programs. We can't hit next choice because there is no next choice. But it tells us that by beeping and refusing to do it. And then there's the enter button, and that's the only purpose is enter. In show jumping, the horse enters the ring and the rider appears to be ready. You're ready to hit the countdown and eyes on, so that's the 6 button and the 0 button. So hit countdown and eyes on. Now, if you see that the rider's going to go backwards through the timers and you don't want to disrupt the countdown clock, you just hit the number 1 button, the eyes off button. And then when they're clear of it, you hit the eyes on back on. And that's noted by the solid X's. If you didn't hit the eyes off button and they went through it and stopped the countdown clock, then you can either simply stop it and hit eyes on, in which case it will go to 0 once they go through it, or to make it neater, you can hit clear. And the eyes are on and activated, you just lose the countdown clock feature. I suggest you always use auto eye off, and then you can ID the eyes. The brains now come with the ability to run 4 eyes. This particular brain is only being used for 3, but it'll give us the option to ID all 4 of them. When you're IDing the eyes, you set them close together, but apart enough that it'll tell you when to break the beam. You hit enter, it'll say break beam now. You break the beam, you get a code. Or you can set hand switch time. You can set the time format, the time of day. We have time of day on or time of day off. We use it off. So if you hit scoreboard options, you have the choice of using the wireless scoreboard as we're using here. And then you have runtime on and runtime off, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, but runtime off is very useful for optimum time classes. We have enabling the scoreboard horn, which has got a star by it. And you can adjust the scoreboard from brilliant to dim. You can change the font, and you can go out of it.